Hello, guys, and welcome back to The Letter. What an exciting episode this is gonna be, because we're starting a new POV. We're at Rebecca. In the end, Marianne tried to break free of her friend and got shut in jail. We also had like a pretty cool revelation that the letter might be faked by a bunch of kids. I think it is, but I don't know if they were copying it from somewhere else. But what I didn't really realize is maybe since the letter is fate, maybe the ghost isn't like wanting to be saved at all. Maybe it's just how to curse people, and the kids are actually just made the ultimate ghost trap because they put like "save me, save me." What if the ghost doesn't want saving? What if it just wants to kill people? Actually, like Kyoko. So food for that. Um, yeah. But we're on Rebecca. Should be fun because, like Marianne, Rebecca isn't a character I exactly cared about too much. But I really enjoyed Marianne's route. It might be the strongest one, honestly. It's definitely in the race for the best one against Hana, for me, so far. But we have a couple things to check first. See how the relationships are going. Ashton is... I guess it's because we made some choices with Ashton. Why is everyone negative? Isabella is a bit lower. I guess it's from our other choices. Hana's is decent. I'm surprised Lute's that's slightly higher than Hana's, or is that just an optical illusion? Marianne's. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. And let's check out the profile. Because we had Isabella, 26, 31, 31, 30, 29. She looks really younger. I thought she was actually going to be Isabella's age, but good for her. April 1st. Haha. Wait, is April 1st April Fool's Day? I think it is, right? Yeah. Aries, 29 years old. 5'5". How we doing for height? 5'11". She's huge. Sits. 5'7". 5'2". Oh my god. History teacher. Scottish. Irish. Okay. I honestly never know the difference. I'm sorry. Religion atheist. Raised Kirk. I don't know what Kirk is. Education, master's degree in education. Major in European history. Light stovies. that said stories. Reading in the library. Going to the gym. Cycling and jogging. Lacrosse. And lesson plans. Don't talk to me about lacrosse in Canada. Although of Scottish descent, she grew up in Luxembourg and even went to the school in St. Goretti. Oh no, don't be blessed by St. Goretti. It's not worth it. Her parents were professors of European history and Southeast Asian history. At Luxembourg University, they were often busy, and that forced Rebecca to be independent early on. Surrounded by books and instilled with a love for learning, she was a star pupil that was often called a teacher's pet for it. Her passion for academics, leading to a career in the industry, was to be expected of her. She came out of her shell in her high school years and started becoming the Spitfire she is now. Before then, Ashton was her only friend, though she found him aggravating at first. Independent and used to taking care of others, it was no surprise when she helped out the young foreigner who moves in next door, Isabella. Okay, let's start. This is how it begins, or so they say. With a gentle wind drifting through wide open windows, muffled laughters and footsteps fading behind empty hallways. Sorry, I was just checking something. Wait, what the... Oh, never mind. Soon there will be a call, a crossing of thresholds into the unknown. Maybe we are off to some grand adventure, or diving into another gripping mystery. One can't really tell. For all I know, a hero might even come up and sweep me off my feet if I'm lucky. This isn't her, right? Is she reading a story?
That's not exactly a bad thing when you
Or
think
she
about
thinks...
it.
But this is far from one, isn't it? A riveting tale, that is. Narrating her own life, huh? Okay. Respect? Sports day. A mild breeze, the faint murmurs, the warm rays painting every nook and cranny a fiery hue. They are all as real as they can get. As much as I want to write a little tale out of this, I'm far from someone who can. Fleeting fancies, that's what these are, merely passing thoughts to occupy an idle mind, while waiting for another busy workday to end. Then again, maybe in another life, I am one? Who knows? Who knows? But at present, I have and what I've chosen to be? Well,
I won't last years here if I find teaching rowdy adolescents a tedious job, will I?
admittedly, the whole affair isn't exactly as grand or exciting as I had imagined as a child. If I weren't so stubborn and too passionate about the whole idea, I probably would have quit a long time ago. But it's always the kids that make it worthwhile, isn't it? As an agreement, as soon as my pen slides into a neat circle against the papers I'm grading, the final bell rings. Like a dam that has opened, students began piling out into the hallway soon after. For a short minute, I let the noise fill my ears, let my mind wander to a place far removed from all the hubbub. Solitary moments like this have come few and far between lately. They said we started at the 28th. Let's see where that is. 28th? Bro, that's so far away. If I read that right. Even my own heart hasn't been as quiet as I usually prefer. Who knows, I guess. Though, in hindsight, the entire place hasn't been the same either since Isabella moved in next door. I think I just read it wrong, to be honest. As if her fussing over a minor cold last week tells anything, I might as well throw any idea of solitude out the nearest balcony, as so long as she lives nearby. At the memory, my eyes automatically shift over to the bottle sitting at the edge of my desk. And a chuckle escapes for me as I reach for it. Okay, I think this is the first day.
A little ball of energy and enthusiasm. That big baby.
She taking cough syrup for fun? Mother hen, she calls me, and then says and does the same thing right after. Or is she actually sick? It's not that I'm unused to being on the receiving end of other people's worries or I feel any sort of apprehension over fretting. If I am to be completely honest, it's actually amusing how someone can be childlike one minute and then act like a responsible adult like next. But there's a dissonance there, both in her actions and words. Although she may not look like it, may not say anything, may not lose her cheer one way or another, I know these troubles have weighed down on her lately. Her face says it all. That big numpty. If she thinks I won't notice, she's got another thing coming for her. That's how she has always been. I do understand that part, loud and clear. It's just that. I'd really rather not pass another burden on to her.
Or become one myself.
Aren't I supposed to be the one taking care of them? Though I guess that's simply one of those things people eventually grow away from once you start leading different lives. Not completely different, I hope. Somehow that makes me feel uneasy. Thankfully, before strange ideas can take root in my head, a faint buzzing comes from my bag, cutting through the rest of my thoughts. A small frown forms in my lips when the screen lights up and an unknown number flashes. For a long second, my thumb hovers over the answer button. Even the voice that responds, once I do accept the call, is hopefully unfamiliar.
Hello?
Oh, goodness. Finally, it connects.
Oh, this is Marianne.
Hello? Is this Miss Gales?
No, it's not. Oh, no, this is Rose. Okay, so we're definitely not on 28 because Rose is alive. I believe this is because Rose calls Rebecca once Isabella faints, right? Yeah, somewhere there. So we're on the 21st.
Yes, speaking. Who is this?
Oh, sorry. Rose Cooper. Briar Realty
Rip Rose, man. It's funny we keep seeing her, even though she dies.
Briar Realty?
My frown deepens as I straighten from my chair. Something in her tone, despite sounding remarkably friendly and light, doesn't sit quite well with me. The rigid pause that follows doesn't help ease the tension that has suddenly descended, either.
Miss Cooper?
Yes. Things are a bit busy on my end. I apologize. I'm not certain if Isabella has mentioned anything before, but we're working together on a property at the moment, and
The Armengard Mansion, yes. She said something about that.
Ermagerd.
Is there a problem?
this is about Isabella, actually.
Yeah, she dead. She wastes no time relaying everything. The details she provided are admittedly a bit vague, but enough for me to get a gist of what happened. It isn't the bad sort I'm expecting, though I'm still worrying. Especially with the words panic attack and pale, looking a bit sickly, woven together in one foreboding sentence. Okay, so this isn't when she fainted, this is when she dips, I think. But as quickly as it surfaces, I stomp down the urge to demand answers right there and then. Now isn't the proper time for useless questions. I'll find out soon enough regardless. To Miss Cooper's credit, she neither hesitates nor falters all throughout. There's some sort of conflict in knowing Isabella has something like her to guide her, though not as much as I would have liked. After all, this is Isabella we're talking about. What are the chances she just said a bunch of excuses so she won't get sent home? High. Very high. Oh, she's going to hear it this time.
You were listed as one of her emergency contacts, so I thought it'd be best you know about this.
How is she? Is she doing okay?
I had her take a break for now, but honestly, I'd feel better if someone were to pick her up and take her home for some rest. Anthem's a fair distance from Luxborn. I really don't want her going off on her own. I'd do it myself, but you know how it is today. Big day. People everywhere until the open house.
She's on the grind.
I'm really sorry to ask this of you, Miss Gales. I know you're busy.
Oh, no, it's all good. I was just about to leave from work. I hope to leave early today anyway. A few minutes ahead wouldn't hurt. I can be there in a few, 30, 40 minutes tops. Is that all right?
More than fine, Miss Gales, thank you. We're supposed to be here until... Oh, excuse me. One moment, please. Yes, ma'am.
The faint hum of a conversation echoes from her end. It sounds as though the place is buzzing with more people than you would expect from a regular open house. I was skeptical at first. The house is old, not to mention its inconvenient location in Luxembourg's outskirts. Who wants to live in a place that's almost an hour's drive away from the comforts of a city? But from what little I can hear, it appears Isabella has every right to be optimistic about this sale. If I didn't understand why she was so adamant refusing my offer of help before, I think I do now. To some degree.
We'll be resuming the tour soon. Yes, thank you. Sorry about that. I really need to get this thing going. Lord knows how I'll salvage the situation here. It shouldn't be anything complicated, but still, clients. They can be difficult when they want to be. Anyway, just look for me when you get here, alright? I shouldn't be too hard to miss.
Well, I guess because Ashton was there scooping out the place. Hopefully Rebecca doesn't get there and they're just gone already.
No problem. Thanks for letting me know about this. Just make sure Isabella stays put, please. Heaven knows how stubborn that girl can be.
Oh, believe me, I know. Don't worry about it. I'll have a few of our staff keep an eye on her for me until you get here.
That's all I'm asking. I appreciate it.
The whole thing ends on a surprisingly pleasant note. If only the same can be said for the news she brought. I allow a brief minute to pass to ease whatever tension has latched itself firmly to my nerves. But no matter how much I wish for it, my mind stubbornly refuses to do so. My hands are unsteady against the papers I pretend to arrange after. Lucid thoughts, every single ounce of it grimmer than the other, grows with each passing second I linger. Something about this whole thing, along with the sudden unease and nagging worry, screams off. Wrong. This isn't the riveting tale I've hoped to step into today. Yeah, it's definitely not a fun tale. Get a look at St. Goretti, the most cursed high school. I'm joking, how can it be cursed if you have St. Goretti as its name? I joke too much about St. Goretti. No disrespect at all. I just thought it was funny. And we also recorded on St. Goretti's Day. Even on a rush, getting everything in order before leaving takes nearly a good quarter hour. By the time I make it out of the classroom, the commotion has already died down, dwindling to mere echoes and distant laughters. From the nearby room, melodies from a rehearsing band drifts freely into the air, filling the almost empty hallway with their warm, lively tunes. Any other day, I'll stop, bask in the music, and enjoy what little peace it brings. Not today, however. My steps are brisk and sure as I march to Edward's Hall exit. The sooner I can confirm Isabella's okay, the sooner I can shake off this niggling feeling. For one reason or another, that single call, of all possible things, has thrown everything off kilter. I'd rather this be over with as quickly as possible. So much that I nearly barrel over a student in my haste. Though perhaps it's really the other way around. It's her! Are you telling me she's a high school student? She looks freaking tiny. I thought she's an elementary, unless she's a really tiny girl. This was the girl in Zachary's route. We didn't see her at all in Marianne's that got possessed by the freaking Kyoko. Does that mean we're gonna get her possessed again with Rebecca? Probably. Not exactly looking forward to that. When I look down, a set of bright eyes, bright and hopeful, stare back at me. Her arms wrapped around my waist like a vase, and at my attention, a grin spreads over her face.
Buenas tardes, Miss Pink.
Miss Pink. Buenas tardes.
Hello, Kylie.
Kylie. Forgot her name.
You know, you aren't supposed to run into people like that.
I always liked that little thing on her neck. I don't know what that's called. I always thought that looked cool on people.
Sorry, Miss Pink.
She loosens her hold on me, but not a hint of guilt or regret appears on her. Dude, she's a high schooler, right? Oh, she's here for her brother, probably. Maybe. If anything, it seems the remark only amused her. A smile appears on my face before I can help it, matching the one on her own.
Just remember not to do it again, alright? You could get hurt.
You sound like my mama when she's scolding Rowan, Miss Pink.
Miss Pink? At least she got the name right. Marianne was calling her Red. She's totally
I'm sure
pink.
Your mama only means well. I know she'll be worried sick if one of you were to get hurt. Where's your brother anyway? Aren't you two supposed to be heading home now?
Rowan said he's got some stuff he needs to do before we go. I think he's taking too long.
The voice, man. The voice.
He promised to buy me jelly babies today.
Jelly babies.
Doing a secret from Mama and Papa.
Oh, don't tell me Rowan was one of the kids that... No, it doesn't really make sense. You assume that was before. Unless the No, they can't do the letter because Isabella found the freaking letter already.
Any chance you'll tell Miss Pink?
I don't know though. Maybe it'll tie in. She shakes her head, both her hands going to her mouth as if to keep a precious secret from spilling out.
I made a promise. He said it's for Tia Luke.
Who?
Oh, something like a gift?
Like a deal. Tio promised to take him somewhere cool when he's old enough. Rowan's gonna prove he's a grown-up.
No, he's gonna die. Laughter slips free from my lips. Maybe that's how she gets freaking cursed. She's a freaking Rohan, dude. The teacher in me wants to give whoever this Tio is a reprimand for bringing about this kind of behavior in children. But if both Sura's kids are fond of him, there shouldn't be anything to worry about, yes? At any rate, they're nothing but well behaved, both Kylie and her brother. Rowan, not Rohan. The eldest may have an occasional odd streak in and out of class, but their parents taught them well, and I see no reason to cast any suspicion of bad behavior on them.
As long as it isn't anything dangerous, all right?
It's not. Cross my heart.
Cross my heart.
My drawings are a lot prettier than what he's doing anyway. Tio said so. Do you want to see? I drew one earlier at class.
Turns out to be Kyoko. No,
Is that why
hopefully
you're
not.
here?
Hopefully not.
Not really. I was gonna show it to my friend first. But since it's you, I'm sure she wouldn't mind if you see it before she does.
Oh, oh no. I can't stay right now, Kylie.
Her face falls immediately after the words are out. A small part of me feels responsible for that crestfallen look, but as much as I want to stay a little longer, there's another place I need to be at right now. And frankly, another child to look after. Taking both of her hands, I kneel in front of her and muster the most rueful smile I can give. At her age, I'm quite sure she already understands what I'm about to say before they're even out. But remarkably, she doesn't look away or pout as I'm expecting her to.
I'm sorry. You know what? Rowan has a class with me on Monday around this time. Why don't you drop by again next week? After class? I'll even make sure to wait for you. It's just that I absolutely must leave now. My friend had an accident earlier, and I'm the only one she has here.
What about her mama and papa?
Her family lives really far from here, I'm afraid. Do you remember where Asia is? The southeast part? That's where they are.
Her eyes immediately light up at my question just like that, and I've earned the girl's forgiveness.
Oh, just like Takako.
Takako.
Who?
My friend. She said she used to live there, only just a little higher than southeast. But she hasn't come home in a long time, so she doesn't remember much about it anymore. Melody says it's weird I talked to her, but I think she's just shy.
Kylie Routwen?
They can
No.
be good friends too. Don't
I don't know,
you
she
think
seems...
so?
She has a lot of stuff.
Maybe if you introduce them properly, they will be.
That's what I think. Takako's just lonely.
I don't know if I could
If she
handle
gets
it
more
though.
friends, she won't be anymore.
No offense to Kylie.
Is your friend like that too?
A little, possibly. To be honest, sometimes I can't tell with her.
After all, Isabella has always been the kind to hold a smile, even when things have taken a turn for the worse. 5 years, and one will think it's enough to know a person. 5 years, dude. It's a long time. They lived next to each other. But when you consider it, come to think of it, all these years I've never, not even once, seen her cry. Not over a trivial matter, or even when things are tough.
Okay, you can go to her. I'll just show you my drawing next time.
Stay alive until then, Kylie.
Thank you. Remind me to buy you a huge glass of parfait, all right?
No, I'll get a stomachache. Takako says so. A small one is okay.
I'll remember that. Say hi to your friend for me.
I will. I'm sure she'd love to meet you too. See you, Miss Pink.
I'll see you later, Kylie.
London Bridge is falling.
This freaking song, bro. Also, I just remembered from last epi, though maybe I'll say it after. Oh, we're good. Okay. Didn't Kyoto transform into the lady Ermagerd, which just kind of revealed her identity? I think, like for a brief second. I don't fully remember though. Rebecca Dales received a phone call from Rose Cooper after class, asking her to pick up Isabella Santos from Ermagerd Mansion on her way out of school, and excited Kylie Suraz stops her favorite teacher from leaving. Oh, Kylie! Kylie! Isn't that... Am I crazy? Isn't Kylie, like, related to Luke or something? Oh my god, I just put that together, I think. Isn't, like, Kylie his niece? I actually think that's it. Maybe. They did say Tio Luke, right? And I was like, Luke? Question mark? Maybe it just means uncle? Yeah, I think it means uncle. Oh my god. That's actually a huge revelation. What the heck? Yeah, I knew freaking Tyler. Okay, so Tyler is a very important character. I'm surprised we didn't catch that when we first met her in Zachary's route. But yeah, she's the niece of Luke and Hana. Okay, so she and her brothers always close contact with them, so that's not great. With a sound and an extra spring in her steps, she bounds across the corridor with as much spirit only a child her age can have. As if the conversation has never taken any downhill turn for her at all. Excuse me. As if there isn't a single thing to worry about in the world. Not long after, she disappears behind a door, leaving behind strains of an old familiar rhyme lingering in her air. I'm hoping that, like, wait, let me look around. I hopefully Tatako isn't like Kyoko, just because, you know, how Asian it sounds. Though I do think it's the Ermagerd, the OG Ermagerd lady, but I don't know, weird vibes. Not like that, yeah. Carefree, unbidden, untroubled moments like this, I envy her. And as I resume my hurried pace, a tiny whisper on my back of my mind wishes the same can be said of myself and my own worries. Luxembourg may be a small city, but it's no stranger to the hellish rush hour traffic. Oh, we haven't heard this jam in a while. Bam, 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 bam. But surprisingly, getting out of the city today proves more of a breeze than a hassle. A relief considering how none of my calls to Isabella have made it through. Either the reception's really bad over there, or she's ignoring them on purpose. Both does nothing to ease the disquiet in me. The rest of my drive passes without much incident as soon as I'm out of the busy streets. In less than 30 minutes, the mansion looms ahead of me. Yeah, she missed them. For all the fuss Isabella made about the house, it remains a thing of beauty. Unlike Luxembourg, the estate and the nearby Anselm village stand as its complete opposite. Living and breathing sounds of the old, whispers of a once blooming haven lingering in the air. Contemporary conveniences aside, it's a place I'm glad modernization hasn't wholly touched.
It's just a shame the locals know more of the silly hearsay than the history itself.
Don't call it hearsay. It's all facts.
If I could only knock some sense into these people.
Sadly, complaining is all I can afford to do. As much as I want to give them a piece of my mind, it isn't why I'm here. I don't think these rich types will appreciate getting a lecture from me either. I have as much business with them as they have with me. With a heavy sigh, I give myself one last second to take in the scenery before heading up to the main entrance. Yay. Most of the guests are already heading out. Though some still linger, it's mainly just to take photos of the house's facade, or its various rooms. I pause for a moment, standing in the small room gathered at the foyer, looking for any sign of that familiar ponytail among the sea of hats and heads.
No sign of her.
Sorry, Rebecca, you got baited. No sign of the other staff or Miss Cooper either. I can certainly look for Isabella on my own, but in a place this big, I'd be lucky if I didn't end up lost or find her before we need to meet Zachary and Ash tonight. Sighing, I reach for my mobile and redial her number, the gesture familiar now after so many attempts earlier. If she doesn't answer, I can still try contacting Miss Cooper. I just hope the network reception will cooperate this time. This side of the country has never been popular with the tech savvy after all. To my relief, it only took 3 unsuccessful tries. At the 4th one, right as it's about to switch to another intercept message, the line finally rings. Silence follows while I wait for it to pick up, the ringing going for too long for my tastes. Look at her eyes, they look kind of creepy in the picture. They're so defined. By now, most of the visitors have already cleared out. All I have for company are the faint murmurs and the eerie calmness left in their wake. A sudden hush settles and gives way to noises louder than they're ever meant to be. Doors creaking and slamming shut in some distant part of the mansion, floorboards groaning under the sheer weight of the house's history. In the now empty hall, they all reverberate with special clarity against the walls. Like this, those old stories seem to almost have a ring of truth to it. I don't get to stray far into that ugly line of thought, however. Not a second later, a click sounds from the other end.
Hello? Isabella?
That's not Isabella.
Called earlier and...
That's Kyoko. Never call in the house or Kyoko will freaking intercept you. Don't ask for help if you don't tell me what you need. And you trapped Marianne in a jail cell. I'll never trust you again.
Isabella? Belle? Are you alright?
Not the crying. It's a bait. Without any warning, the call gets cut off. Busy notes blare sharply against the heavy silence. But above the noise counting through the mute air remain the faint cries of a woman. From beyond the foyer, that cry is so cursed. Love it. Look at that. What does that sound remind me of? It reminds me of something else, but it's so weird. My hand falls to my side as I cast a wary look around, waiting for someone to come running. Surely I can't be the only one hearing this. There must still be some staff hanging around, checking things out. I love how no one's even suspicious of this crying. It sounds freaking demonic. But no one does. And they're all just like, "Aw, it's sad." Not even when her sobs turn more frantic and anguished.
Excuse me? Hello? Who's there? Isabella? Isabella? Is that you?
No answer. Growing anxious, I amble over where her cries come from, each step slow and cautious, towards the door on the other end of the room. While I'm far from someone who readily gives in to fear, or stories lacking factual basis, the vague, restless feeling I have earlier immediately returns to me. And despite myself, my heart begins to race and my breathing quickens.
Belle? Belle, it's me.
It's not Belle. Are you insane? Does she sound like that?
Miss Cooper called. Is everything okay?
Abruptly, all of it stops. Only my heart rate. My whole body tenses, mouth dragging in a ragged breath, ears straining from any other sound yet to come from the other side. But nothing follows. Instead, the quiet only lends itself to the heavy tension in the air, as if every small movement will disturb the fragile stillness hanging in the room. I wait for another second. Then, with a caution, I reach for the knob. Are you insane? My fingers barely graze the brass handle when a hand falls on my shoulder.
Excuse me, ma'am?
Hello, Rose. Punch her!
I am so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you.
It's good to see you. Again. Back alive for a little.
No, it's
Still reeling, my gaze shifts back to the door, as if any second now the cries will start again or whoever's inside will burst out of the room. But I don't get to dwell on these. The woman's worried voice breaks through the haze in my mind again, oddly soothing the thick of my unease. Also, thank you, Rose, for saving our life. At least from a quick time event. Even if the concern look comes from a total stranger, finally being in the company of someone else is somehow comforting.
Ma'am? Are you okay?
Oh, no, I'm fine. This is probably just some cold.
Do you need to sit down?
No need. I'm actually looking for a friend.
I wave the mobile in front of her like a gesture alone explains everything. Vaguely, I note my tight grip on it and quickly slip it into my pocket before she noticed. She doesn't need to know.
Well, I'm not really sure if your friend would still be here. We're actually about to close the open house in a few minutes, ma'am.
Maybe she just expects we already picked up Isabella, because Isabella's gone.
No worries. She's not again. Miss Cooper.
Oops, I
called
didn't
me
mean to
earlier.
slip.
In fact, I'm also looking for her.
In the flesh. Recognition flashes in her eyes, and her worried expression dissolves into a smile at once. It's all I need to know that I don't have to look elsewhere or venture deeper into the mansion on my own. In some way, I'm not too keen on the latter right now.
Oh, Miss Rebecca Gales, is it?
Yes. Sorry if I'm a bit late.
It's not a problem. I was busy with the open house and a few clients anyway. It's actually a good thing you came when you did. Let's see. Isabella should be here somewhere. I told her to stay put earlier. That girl never listens.
Rose? Rosie? May I have a minute? There's just this one little thing before we go.
Miss Trooper's head immediately snapped up at the voice. In a blink, a different kind of smile spreads on her face. A smile, still friendly even, but it's a kind given mainly for the sake of pleasing other people rather than making friends.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be there in a few.
Look at that smile, teeth showing. It's an impressive thing, to say the least. The level of professionalism. I suppose working in this kind of business trains you enough to be able to pull that off without batting an eye. It certainly didn't seem to have rubbed off on Isabella, though.
Sorry, could you give me a second? I have to take care of this.
Don't worry about it. I understand. I can wait a few more minutes. Clients, right?
You won't hear anything from me. Priorities, you know? But if you want, you can stay at the parlor in the meantime. I think we have a few refreshments left.
No, thank you. I'm going out with a few friends after this. Isabella's supposed to join us too. But that depends on how she's doing, of course.
Alright, this won't be long, I promise.
She throws me an apologetic look before sauntering over the small group gathered at the entrance. The squad. Gotta look at that. Full screen. You almost never see 4 sprites together. A couple or siblings and another woman, probably their secretary. Either way, they look no different from the other guests. All 3 of them primly dressed, albeit in a manner significantly simpler than the others. No frills or extravagance of any form. But their gestures and movements alone speak volumes of their ingrained lifestyle. In their presence, I do what I can to appear inconspicuous on my side of the foyer. Maybe accepting Miss Trooper's offer would have been a much better choice than standing around awkwardly and gaping at them. All the while also attempting my best not to listen in on their conversation. Although that one proves more difficult with how enthusiastic that blonde woman is. Her voice easily echoes through the walls, with only the 5 of us here. Pretty soon I find myself being drawn into their talk without meaning to.
Tomorrow? First thing in the morning?
First thing in the morning, ma'am.
The mundane talk isn't what catches my attention, though, however.
We'll have our lawyers prepare everything as soon as possible. Let's make this whole thing easier for everyone, shall we? Just let me know if there's anything you need from me. You know how to contact me, yes?
Got your mobile number saved here already.
Good. It's just a matter of time then.
It's a brief moment. A fleeting shift of my eye. Oh, is freaking Kyoto just somewhere?
Monday for us, Marianne.
That's what it's kind of leading up to that. Please.
As long as you're positive, we won't be having any problems by that time. You can count on my team.
You worry too much. Let me handle those things. Do be thrilled, though. I imagine it's not every day you get projects like this,
And the instant I turn my gaze on him, I see it.
Oh, I'm certain Mint's ecstatic, Buttercup.
Uh-oh.
Aren't you, Marianne? You know, we
I don't
could
see it. I don't see
celebrate
it.
this with a few drinks. Why don't we?
Alright, Luke's being an asshole, as per usual.
In fact, there's this really excellent Irish pub I visited a few days ago.
Come on, Luke. Looming. Yeah. hovering over his shoulders. That's interesting, because we usually only see Kyoko over Hana, not Luke at all. Drawn to him like a moth to a flame. A dark blur. No. A shadow. I don't see shit.
Pass on that, sir. I have more important matters to attend to.
Rejected.
Darling, your liver.
Uh-oh. It's getting muffled.
You already had a glass today, and apparently a few days ago as well. How many times do we have to remind you? Doctor's orders, remember?
Oh no.
You never let me do anything fun.
I made down a get jumped. But as I try to make sense of it, a heavy feeling descends over my whole body. Kyoko! It happens without warning, forcing me to close my eyes. The sensation creeps through every part of me, crawling under my skin and draining me little by little of any strength. Before I know it, my hands gripping the nearby door for support, the sudden nausea drowns out their voices and what little sound there is, all except for the whispers and laughters. Judging, mocking, taunting, muffled, inaudible words bearing down on me like a death sentence. They wrap around my neck and limbs, binds tightening with every syllable, every utterance. And with each draw of a breath I take, they drag me down slowly, almost painfully into a bottomless abyss. On and on and on, till the sound turns into mere distant echoes, until suddenly it shatters.
Well, what are we waiting for? Are we done here?
I was expecting a Kyoko, not a Luke. Thank you, Luke. His voice rips through the fog like a sharp blade, and my eyes snap open. When I look to them again, it's dawn.
Just a second, darling.
Nice.
Send my regards to Isabel, please. Poor girl. Please let her know she doesn't have to worry and tell her to get some rest. Anyway, we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Likewise, ma'am.
No shadows or dark clouds. Only amicable smiles and cordial handshakes. The usual pleasantries as Miss Cooper leads them out of the mansion like a graceful host. None of the group seems to have noticed it, and even I force my breathing to calm down, keep my eyes trained on their bats, and wait for something to happen. It doesn't come back. She returns a moment later. Gently, she closes the great doors behind her, but there's a smile on her lips and an extra skip in her step when she walks back to me. Whatever she was discussing with the group had put her in a good mood. Even she appears to have not observed anything odd. Was I just seeing things?
Glad that was over. It's been a long day. I thought for sure we were going to... hey, are you sure you're doing okay? You look a bit green.
You look green.
It's all good. I'm actually still recovering from a cold. The weather's been crazy lately.
That must be it. The weather, the stupid cold, and the friendly warnings I'm too stubborn to listen to. Okay, definitely she was just taking cold medicine because she has a cold. Confirmed. As much as I hate to admit it, Isabel is right. I was, and still am, a little feverish when she visited me at school this morning. The medicine helped, of course, but only some. Although it's not like I can't function, it did get better after lunch, and I was able to go through my schedule like the usual. Now I'm not sure. However, I can't keep acting like I've seen some sort of apparition when it's anything but. I simply must have listened to too many times to Isabella last week. My fever-muddled mind started to confuse things. If this doesn't line up, I just need another visit to my doctor, plain and simple. Though I do hope it won't get worse. We did promise to watch Zachary's film together.
I know what you mean. I've been complaining to Isabel. It doesn't seem to affect her much, though. Must be because she grew up in the tropics. Anyway, shall we? She's probably hanging out with the rest of the catering staff.
Nah, she dipped.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised she's there. She eats like 10 hungry men when she isn't feeling well. Lead the way.
With a small nod, she gestures for me to follow. I do so without much thought, finally putting everything in the back of my mind. Lol. Bam, 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 da, da, da. Cool shot, cool shot. While waiting at the mansion, Rebecca overheard a brief conversation between the right couple, their interior designer, and estate agent, Rose Cooper. It was discovered afterward that Isabella had already left a few hours ago. The entire visit took a whole 24 minutes, and my trip to the mansion, as it turns out, is a useless endeavor in itself. Isabella is no longer there, left shortly before I arrived. Or at least that's what a few staff who saw her assumed. None of them knew where she went, but I can take a few guesses. There's only a number of places in Luxembourg she frequents, and while she's never been the complex kind, it doesn't really take a genius to figure it out. Still, it's odd she left on her own. She could have at least waited for Miss Cooper. It would have saved her having to pay the cab's fare twice today.
And right after she was told to stay put. I mean, who does that? Oh, sod off! You don't own the road.
Look at that angry Rebecca sprite. In the end, all Miss Cooper could give me were a string of apologies for my troubles, and a request to let her know when I find Isabella. The whole affair didn't even last long. I probably spent more time traveling back and forth. Soon enough, I'm weaving my way back to downtown Luxembourg, where it's sick, and on top of that, maybe even a little annoyed. Whether at the unexpected turns of events or at Isabella herself, I'd rather not think about it for now. Not when I'm already running late for Zachary's film. Besides, I'm perfectly sure that's where I'll find her. Yep. Point of no return. As one would expect, people are already gathered at the movie house when I get to it. A small avenue where it's located has been closed off early from any passing traffic to make way for the avid moviegoers who's sure to crowd the venue. I have to park almost a street away and walk the remaining distance because of it. Also interesting, I think this is like gonna be the first time we see a same scene with a different point of view, because it's usually like we get different point of views, but they're completely different scenes, and they usually just skip over the scenes we've seen already. So it's interesting they're doing it for Rebecca. Looking at them has taken a while in a crowd this big, but I eventually spot them near the entrance. Thanks to Zachary mostly. And like I've surmised, Isabella's with them.
I knew it.
Wasting no time, I march over to their little group. Words filled with concern tumble out of my mouth before I can stop myself.
Isabella! Oh, thank goodness. Becca, you're just in time.
An odd expression crosses her face as I hold it with both hands, but I ignore it in favor of getting a good look at her, forcing her to keep still and fix her gaze at me.
Becca, you're squishing my face.
That sounds cute.
How are you? Are you alright?
Why wouldn't I be?
There doesn't seem to be any visible injury, nor does she appear to be in pain. Apart from her confused frown at my question, she looks pretty much like how she would any other day. Even so, you can't really tell those things with her at first glance. The last time she got sick, she never bothered to call anyone, even me, who lives right next door. If I hadn't checked on her then, she probably would have died on her bed, with the rest of us none the wiser. Unlucky. It's one thing we laugh about now, but moments like those also teach you something about a person. If anything, it's given me more reason to constantly worry about her. And the moment a familiar name comes up, I know my concerns right now aren't completely baseless.
Rose called me earlier.
Her expression swiftly changes, and gently as she can, Isabella pushes my hands away. Yet even before she says anything, I already have a hunch how this whole thing will play out.
Oh, no, everything's good. Rose covered for me at work today.
That's not what I'm talking about. How's your head?
Then and there, the whole conversation goes down as I've imagined. She dodges my hand when I reach for the back of her head, intending to check this head injury herself. Even makes a show of hiding behind Zachary just to avoid me. Excuse me, she's in front of Zachary, actually. Instantly, what's supposed to be a simple inquiry dissolves into a shameless game of tag. Shouting and chasing, like none of us can be bothered to act like full-grown adults we're all supposed to be. Including Ashton. I won't put it past Isabella, but Ash, out of everyone? In fact, it's that stupid smirk on his face tells me anything. He finds this whole mess amusing. Oh, for the love of...
Isabella, this isn't a laughing matter.
She did look pale when I saw her.
Wow, thanks a lot, Ashton, you traitor. I'll get you back for this, just you wait.
What? I'm just saying it as it is.
True.
If you mentioned this earlier, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
There's a moment's pause, my hand still midair as my attention shifts to Ashton and the words he leaves hanging between the four of us. He doesn't meet my eye, I don't even think he's aware of what he said. But in the meaning in each syllable alone is clear. And they echo. They sting. They burn. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for trying to ship them together. Maybe you can change my mind, but the damage might already be done.
I'm sorry. Saw her?
Yeah, they arrived together. Bella looked fine to me then.
Zachary, I can't even see you, bro. Of course. Of course. Why else would Isabella leave on her own after being told to stay put after that little chat about money this morning? Something close to silence falls while I mull over their words, both what's already been said and what's left unspoken. When I do find my voice, it only reads with nothing but bitter, unpleasant thoughts. Thoughts I quickly stamp out before they surface. Thoughts I hide the best I can in the deepest part of my mind, locking it away for no one to see.
Oh, that's good. At least she didn't
Salty.
have to travel alone, right? At least. Good.
Come on. Come on, Rebecca. You just need to step up your game. Who knows? Maybe it'll work out. Yet, try as I might, the green-eyed monster easily rears its ugly head. Like it always does every time his gaze lingers a second longer. Every time he smiles in a manner far too gentle, far too sincere, whenever he thinks no one can see. Every time my mind suggests his words mean more than they should. Every small little thing. Despite what he says, despite his tone.
Look, you guys.
For all I know, it may have just been the same kind of fondness born from friendship. Maybe I'm simply overthinking like he often tells me, or maybe there's really is something there. Just a little something there, I would say. But who knows? They did kiss on the cheek once. But in the short display of impatience, I know the whole of it is just for show. After all, growing up together with him didn't teach me nothing about him. For whose sake is it this time, though? For him? For Zachary? For her? Or for me? That I can't tell.
If she says she's okay, then there's nothing we can do about it. It's not like we can stop her either. Besides, she's still acting like the same old Isabella to me, if she can still run around like that.
Why are you taking her side?
I'm not.
He's just saying how it is.
But if she wants to watch Zach's movie with us, I'm not going to stop her. She's probably the one looking forward to it the most.
And this is when I side with Ashton and not Rebecca when I was playing Isabella, I think.
Ash, that's... You, of all people, should know...
Tell you what, if I notice something amiss with her, I'll take her to the nearest hospital myself. Is that good enough for you?
My mouth opens, then snaps shut almost as quickly, forming a thin, hard line instead. I can't respond, not because there's nothing to say. On the contrary, there's plenty, so many things I can use to reason and get him to agree. But because he speaks with much certainty, with much reassurance, it feels like there isn't even a choice. All I can give is a long, deep breath and a reluctant nod in the face of it. Before I can get a grip of myself and my own weakness, the mood immediately shifts and I'm being tackled into a hug.
Thanks, Becca. It's always been you with him, isn't it?
Did you say something?
Sorry, just jealousy.
Me? Nothing. Don't mind me.
A lie, obviously. What else can it be? Each and every smile, a tiny effort to keep things as they are, or so I tell myself. Little do I know, this is merely a preamble. It starts out quietly and without fanfare, amidst friendly jibes and harmless teasing, with a scrap of paper fluttering harmlessly to the ground. It's the fate letter, maybe. throwback. Did we use this? I think we actually used the other CG. Actually, maybe that was in a different episode, just in case we can use it again if we didn't before. One that looked suspiciously like a cheap Halloween prank, no matter how you looked at it. And yet, despite how ludicrous it all is, Isabella stubbornly insists, as if our whole life depends on acknowledging the truth in her story. Does she even realize how absurd she sounds now? Crivens, even my students wouldn't fall for this.
Isabella, aren't you taking this a bit too far?
She doesn't give me time to regret nor think my choice of words. From there, it escalates, growing into an argument too petty for even our standards as adults. Before you know it, one after another, harsh, scathing words are being spoken.
It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me.
The cursed Isabella's portrait.
If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
Right. And in broad daylight, Isabella. Even someone gullible would find the logic in that screwed up.
There's also no way in hell that this supernatural shit is true.
Come on, bro.
But it's real!
Joe.
What do you think I saw?
Look at those cat eyes.
A hallucination? A delusion? Didn't you say you fell down some stairs? So maybe Rebecca's right.
It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
But someone has to be patient in all this, and however how much my own has already been frayed earlier, there's no one else. Who else can deal with someone selfishly acting like a kid? Zachary, maybe. Like every other time, it has to be me.
Ah, and you know that. But this thing and that thing has got nothing to do with the other. When Rose called earlier, I thought she's just exaggerating. But based on what I'm seeing right now, maybe it's better if we really postpone this for now.
Don't bother.
She's so angry. I don't remember that sprite of Isabella. It looks so cursed. Just like that, she cuts us off. Slams the door right in our faces while my own temper flares before I can stop it. Although it falters briefly at the hard expression on her when she snatches the blasted paper from Ash and I hold on to it. Regardless of how upset she appears, soured expressions and balled fists, throwing a tantrum is simply unacceptable. For a grown woman at that. Words form at the tip of my tongue ready. But before I can open my mouth and let all of it out, her feelings, mistakes to be damned, Zachary raises a voice of his own.
Guys!
Zach the man, with the best soundtrack coming out. My bro. A warning underneath the warm and hopeful beat in his voice. We all stop to look at him, and even my own anger subsides a little at his tone.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her.
Thank you.
And hey, ain't this supposed to be a happy get-together?
To an outsider, it may sound like a desperate request, but Zachary has always been one to keep a level head over petty squabbles. This time's no different. He knows what to say, and when he lets it fall, they only ring sharp and true.
We haven't seen each other for months. I'd really love to know what y'all have been up to. I only ever get to talk to Bella over chat. Please.
And as careful as he is with his own tone, it does make me feel ashamed. We're supposed to be here for him, and to give what little support we can give. Yet here he is trying to keep 3 stubborn people from outright hashing it out in public. Later we can and will talk about it, of course. It's weird ahead. It's tripping me out, Rebecca's POV, because she's telling a story from the future tense, and her inner thoughts are harder for me to read, at least, compared to the others, just because she's so damn smart, dude. She talks weird. No hate, just commenting. There's a proper time and place for it, and at the moment, my anger and whatever reprimands it carries no longer matter. Besides me, Ashton appears to have already caught on. The lines of his shoulders ease to something much more relaxed, his expression back to its usual nonchalant. Isabella, however, she stands perfectly still, her hands still clasping the straps of her bag, like a lifeline, eyes trained at some point near her shoes. There's no anger in her face, only an undeniable hurt. But she's never been good at hiding what she thinks. Always the open book, always the one to wear her heart out in the open. And when she lets up, her answer is so simple.
If we keep arguing here, we're going to miss the first few minutes.
Never want to do that in a movie theater. Sacrilege. Her lips are curled in a smile, though lacking both its usual brightness and glee, it's a smile nonetheless. I've seen it countless times. It's the very same one she would show when she knows she has no other choice or simply when things get tough for her. But despite everything I already know about her, it still catches me off guard. In all honesty, I expected her to run, to balk at the first sign of losing this time. I won't even be surprised. At 26, she is the youngest among the rest of us, less experienced, less accustomed to dealing with trivial quarrels like this. Yet here she is, holding herself and coping with it like how she would with matters concerning her family. Outside of that, to me, she has always been this childish, naive girl, and watching the opposite play out right now, somehow I find it difficult to wrap my head around it.
Alright, that's the Isabella I know.
And then Zachary just says the opposite of what Rebecca's thinking.
Oh, good. I thought for sure you were going to cry.
Green Ashton, the rarest kind. But I envy her.
What was that for?
Stop calling me a crybaby. I'm not one.
Oh, don't cry.
Stop it.
My man. I envy her spirit, her warmth, her cheer, the shine in her eyes when she looks at the world. How everything seems to simply fall back to a pleasant, lively rhythm with her around. How easily and tightly she fits into our lives, even without bonds only long years could forge, like a lost piece of the puzzle despite her jagged edges. However, she draws people to her with ease. How Ashton of all people can be drawn to her.
Okay, scaredy cat then.
That too. If you repeat that, I swear I'll...
Let's just go.
Stop flirting. I make no effort keeping the bitterness from my tone. I let it seep, linger stiffly in the air as I avert my gaze from them. From their playful banter, their friendly teasing remarks, and Ashton's tender, affectionate smiles. All before the stabbing aches in my heart change into something too painful to bear. It's all in my head is what I'd often tell myself. Yet the way my heart rends at just the sight of them hurts. And like a coward, I walk away from all of it, taking with me the small hope the movie will distract me away from these thoughts. Because like this, it's easy to find something to hate in her. Alright, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. We've already been into this for an hour, and me sleepy. Thank you for enjoying the Rebecca premiere. No spooks yet, got a potential almost spook, but it's going good. We're diving into the love triangle kind of, which is always fun. And next time we'll wrap up the day and see what happens next. We're basically starting where Isabella started, so I wonder how far it'll take us this time. But yeah, until then, that's all I got. Thanks for watching and have a great day, night. Bye!